It was frustrating to think of perfectly good food being so deliberately wasted, and on day 5 of my challenge, I hoped I was showing just how much of this food there was being thrown away. However, I still had my misgivings about the usefulness, both of my experiment and of Freeganism as a whole. For a start, I never could have completed the week without a car, and then you have to think, in terms of waste in the environment, is it worth the petrol? Then I began to wonder, well, what if a homeless guy comes along to the same skip where I've just been, only to find it empty? My main problem with Freeganism, however, remained the fact that, although it highlights the problem of wastage, I was still unsure whether it did enough to make the situation any better. A bag of vegetables, a bag of salad, so... Wouldn't you say it would be better to, work for a living and then use that money to, maybe buy local organic produce, support local
But what
farms?
about the waste? What's going to happen with the waste?
Because if you're buying locally, then the supermarkets will there'll be less demand for supermarkets. They'll get less food in.
Maybe, I don't know.
Yeah. Of course, no one can afford to buy locally sourced food the whole time, and while the supermarkets certainly aren't innocent, they do provide an important service for millions of people. I went along to the Vale Festival, a student-led festival that, this year, chose hunger and the global food crisis as its theme. There I met up with Helen from Fair Share, a charity that works with supermarkets by redistributing their surplus food to homeless people.
Fair Share is an organisation that supports communities to relieve food poverty in the UK. And we do that in one of 3 ways. We redistribute surplus food to community organisations. We also offer practical training around sort of vocational food industry skills, and we promote our message, which is that no good food should be wasted. To be honest, Freegans highlight the issue of food waste in a really interesting and in a really engaging way. Freeganism, from my point of view, is about a personal choice. Fair Share is about trying to provide sustainable long-term solutions to food poverty by working with the food industry. So, food waste is at the heart of both of our concerns, but we just take very different approaches.
Of course, hunger in Britain is only a small problem compared to other parts of the world, and I think the most important thing to be taken from Freeganism is the way in which it highlights the fact that we're taking food out of hungry countries only to throw it into bins over here.
I think a lot of larger scale farmers have been encouraged to grow food for developed countries. So they've got rid of all their indigenous crops, for example, quinoa, which is now a superfood fad in the States. They've stopped producing what they would normally and started producing quinoa to export. So they wouldn't traditionally eat it themselves. So that's created hunger at home. Governments aren't encouraging farmers to use their local talents. They're just encouraging them to grow for export. And this is the idea that you grow large scale to export. That's when you get wealth. But there's been lots of studies recently, and DFID, the government, international development arm of the government, have now agreed that small scale agriculture is the way forward. So you're looking at plots of land and working from the very bottom up and making people food secure is the way forward.
Of an estimated 845 million hungry people in the world, 80% are small farmers, forced to reject traditional farming methods in favour of producing crops for export. The only people who benefit from this are the large agricultural companies such as Monsanto and Syngenta AG, whose share price almost doubled in 2008, while these small farmers remain in poverty, exporting food to countries who will only go on to waste it. Drawing near to the end of my experiment, I decided simply to go into the supermarkets and just ask for food. Oh yeah. I don't suppose you've got any wastage food that you're going to throw out that I could have at all?
No, we don't. No,
you don't do that?
You have to put it for the what's and then dispose of it and just put it out in the bins in the back.
Okay, cool. So,
alright,
cheers. Oh yeah. This might sound a bit strange, but I was wondering if you had any wastage food that was going to be thrown away that I could take? No, don't do that. Alright then, thank you. Cheers. See ya. No luck. We'll try Marks and Spencer's. Excuse me. I don't suppose you've got any wastage food that you're going to throw out that I could just have?
No, we can't give it to
No.
sorry.
Okay, no worries. Cheers. Although unsuccessful here, I had eaten quite well throughout the week, and yet I still couldn't help questioning the ultimate worth of my experiment and of Freeganism as an ideology. Is Freeganism direct enough? Does it tackle the problem, actively? Does it do enough, basically, do you think?
Does it do? I don't think it does enough. No, I think we've got a long ways to go.
Yeah.
We don't have all the answers.
Yeah.
Does she?
Paul was right, Freeganism isn't perfect, and personally I'd be much more tempted to support an organisation like Fair Share that attempts to solve the issue of waste and hunger in the UK with a much more practical approach. Having said that, the dedication and sheer commitment that Paul shows, living in a tiny motorhome that runs on vegetable oil, going out every couple of days with his wife to find food, is really admirable, and the overall message of Freeganism is one that I think is very important.
Be happy to live on less. Make it a challenge to live on less rather than saying, wow, what new clothes can I buy this week? What new things can I buy to impress the neighbours, Oh, we need a bigger house, dear. Let's go out and buy a bigger car to impress the neighbours, It never stops.
If you go out to eat here in New York City or any big city, you get a little leftover food. This is what you do with it. Give it to a homeless person. Then you feel like a hero for the whole night. The guy comes up to you, he's like, hey, can you spare some change for some food? You're like, change for some food. Tonight is your lucky night, pal.
Well, it was the end of my week and I had to admit I was looking forward to getting back to some nice home cooking. But while I wasn't won over completely by the practice of Freeganism, after spending time with Paul and after my own experiment, I couldn't help but feel more sympathetic to its cause. Freeganism isn't the most practical solution, but while it continues to highlight the issue of waste, it can only be a good thing.
And actually society says, well, real scary stuff because, money it's everything. Money makes the world go round, If you don't have money, you're going to die. And we say, no. 1, 2, 3, 4.
Here we are, here's some wastage flowers from Aldi. So don't ever do anything for you.